but wouldn't that be the coolest thing to see, you know, the players of whatever team to be standing right outside welcoming the fans in, you know, or do
Yeah.
something, you know, maybe not welcome them all. It's just have them on, you know, like maybe introduce them on a stage before every game. You know, let them walk up the stage. Hey, you know, I'm batting first today, whatever, and then they go. You know, then they go in. So like, do something. They need to do something different, right? Because we're saying they do nothing, so they got to do something different than what they're doing because nothing is not working.
Well, and as much as the nets were absolutely necessary for safety, right? Because people are on their phones instead of watching the game, right?
Yeah, there you go.
It has also shut off player access to these younger kids. Have you ever seen them try to get autographs before the game? It's next to impossible.
It's
You
rough.
gotta like squeeze the ball underneath the cable in the net to hopefully.
Why don't
and
they have
just
something where they pick the net up? Maybe.
They have like a little gap, but like there's only one.
Right.
And everyone's trying to get in there. It's just the players aren't accessible, to your point. And I think they need to be, like, to give them a 15-minute window where you can like slide the nets back or something and they can sign autographs, and then boom, it doesn't take much out of their routine, and then they can just go on to on their way. That would help so much build younger kids. Just something little like that. It doesn't have to be extreme, but
Yeah.
man, I mean, Chad, that's a great point. Baseball media also has spent the last 20 years trying to make us forget the steroid era, so it's getting harder to turn younger generations onto the history of the game, and that's a fair point. It really is.
It is. It doesn't help that baseball media is also trying to help push the Dodgers are not the only team that could be spending all this money narrative, and it's the other team's fault that they're not spending this money. And with the recent news that's coming out about the Dodgers, it's just digging that hole deeper. So media plays a large part in this, and the players, as we mentioned before, they're not helping themselves either with some of the things that have gone on recently, the comments that have been made. So if they could do anything, to Chris's point, like opening this thing up where they're more accessible, if the players really want to help themselves public perception wise, that's one way to do it. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but like finding a way to make the autographs easier would be a good start. But I think the players need to not be so aloof sometimes and be more accessible. Look, football players have an advantage. They can score a touchdown and jump into the crowd, right? They can jump through the end zone and jump into the arms of the crowd. Baseball doesn't really lend itself to that, but I think they could do more to make it more, just be more accessible. Just be more accessible.
Do you know who did a great job at that? Joey Votto. Joey Votto was an absolute – he was amazing with the fans. Like, absolutely. You always see that viral clip of the fan being like, hey, Joey Votto, will you make a TikTok video with me? Boom, he's on it. You just see him doing the gritty, like, in the background. Like, he's still separated by the net, but he's still building that connection with the fans. Like, he had another fan giving it to him on the on-deck circle, and he's, like, playfully giving it back. Like, guys like that need to kind of show other players, like, this is okay. Like, it's okay to talk to these people. Like, they're paying your paycheck, buddy. Like, we got to do something to bring that connection back because it's non-existent at the moment.
Well, think about this too. Like, look at baseball, how it's played in Japan and in Korea, and how involved the fans are. Right? They have different songs for each player. There's a different song. I'm not saying I could never see that here, but they should try to get the fans involved somehow. Like, I don't know how. Like, obviously we're not marketing experts here, but they have to get the fans more involved somehow. I don't know how, but they got to do something to that effect.
Well, Red Sox have a song every time they see a Yankees hat. It goes something like, Yankees suck, Yankees suck.
Yeah, but they stole that from the Mets. Because the Mets yell that. They yell that when the Yankees are not even playing the Mets, right?
Well, so do the Red Sox fans.
It also kind of shows you the IQ of some of those fans too.
Well, or just the utter dominance that you guys have had over us for all of eternity. But there's that as well. But anyways, yes. All right. Let's go on to the future NL MVP. Not just kidding. Pete Crow Armstrong leads off the game. He is the second player in history since Vic Power, I believe, to have a home run on the first pitch of the game and the last pitch of the game. So he leads off the game with a homer, finishes the game off with a walk-off homer. Second player in Major League Baseball history to do it. Oh, and he joins the 30-30 club with that home run. Is PCA the MVP of the NL?
Yes.
I think he is. Yeah, I think he is. And for me, how I'm going to justify it, if Ohtani pitched the whole season and he hit 40-40, yeah, then he's the MVP. But now that he's not pitching the whole season, he may not pitch for the rest of the season. So there's no way I could give a DH, the MVP when PCA is having 30-30 year. He's easily their MVP. Without him, the Cubs are probably nowhere near a playoff. And also, add on to it, he's the best center fielder in the game by far, right? So I think you add in the defense, the base running, and everything. For me, it's got to be PCA.
I can't. It pains me to talk about PCA. Okay, you guys know that another bonehead move by the New York Mets, and and what's even worse is Zach Scott was the acting general manager of the Mets for that short period of time, and this is what he did. I can't even talk about PCA. The guy is just amazing, and I can't go on anymore talking about him.
Wait, but who did the Mets get for PCA, Rob?
Man.
Ron Hodges. I think it was Ron Hodges. Was in it?
No, we know who he got. Another big mistake, right? They thought, Chris, what was that story this week that they thought some fan actually thought that the guy from
the prospect
WFAN,
from the Cardinals, Baez, the kid that just came up and hit the 3 home runs in his first 3 at bats. Somebody from FAN, the local sports talk show here, thought it was a guy that the Mets traded away, and it was really a different name, right? It wasn't the Javi Baez deal. The Mets had another Baez.
Oh, yes, okay, that's right.
Yeah, in their farm system or whatever. Either way, it was wrong.
Yeah, thanks, Armand. I knew who they
Either way, it was wrong.
But I was bringing up the point that I wanted Chris to mention about the guys on WFAN, because WFAN is just horrible now. It's
and I was just trying to twist the knife, so that's all I was trying to do.
What's wrong with that?
And WFAN Pete Hoffman, that's right on.
Twist away. Hey, he was busting my chops. I got to give it back.
Yeah,
I'll go a step further than Chris. I'll say not only is Ohtani not the MVP, he's not even second. I'm going to put Matt Olson second because to build on Chris's point, and look, I understand this is not necessarily how every voter votes, but if it's truly the most valuable player, Chris mentioned it with PCA, where are the Cubs without PCA? They're not anywhere near probably a wild card spot even. Ohtani, take him off, even if he does pitch, take him off of that team. And the Dodgers are still in first place and probably still one of your top 5 picks to win the World Series. All right. They're that deep. They're that good. Take Matt Olson or PCA off of their teams. And those teams, I mean, the Braves may not make the playoffs at this point with Matt Olson, but take Matt Olson off of that team. And suddenly the Braves are nowhere near a postseason. I mean, he has carried that team offensively. But head to head, I'm giving it to PCA because he plays a more premium defensive position. He's got the 30 stolen bases. But I would put Ohtani third if I'm a voter. And it's not me being anti-Ohtani. I actually like Ohtani. But you just the Dodgers, he gets punished for playing for the Dodgers, but that's the way it is, man. You play on a team with a bunch of all-stars. Fact is, you take Ohtani off the Dodgers, they're still a really, really good baseball team.
Matt Olson's look the other night, Jason, he earned so many stars in my book. He hits an absolute tank off the pitcher, looks at the pitcher, and just like shakes his head at him. It was the most like mic drop moment, like best like
disgusting. Why would you dare throw me that pitch?
Yeah, he just like looked at him and just like, oh man, that was terrible.
Yeah,
but God, it was awesome.
Thank goodness for him.
Yeah, Chad goes.
And I look at Ohtani's stolen bases this year.
Right.
They're only 7 or 8 this year, so it's not like he's going 40-40, right? Or even 30-30. Maybe not even 20 stolen bases, right? So I think, listen, if he pitched all season and he pitched like he was in the first half, like a Cy Young, contender, Yeah, I think you'd have to give it to him. But now that he's not pitching in the second half, and he's not having – listen, he's still having a really good season. I'm not putting him the guy down at all. But like Jason said, he may not even be second right now with Olsen. I mean, I hope Olsen at least finishes second because he definitely deserves it for sure.
Yeah. Chad makes a good point. Remember last year we were told by voters that all stats matter, and that's why Judge got MVP over Cal. But expecting baseball writers to be consistent is like asking CB Buckner to have a good game.
That was good.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being in an escape room with CB Buckner and Angel Hernandez? Like you got to get out.
Now, if all
How bad would that
stats
be?
matter, Ohtani is leading in slug, OPS, and OPS plus.
I don't understand. I don't understand how he is though.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, he
Well,
gets to play the
he's got, what,
Rockies. He gets to
27
play the
homers?
Rockies a lot. He gets to
Well,
bat against the Rockies
yeah.
a lot, and in Coors Field. I mean, that's some of it. I would
That's
imagine.
fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I mean that's a great point, Chad. Right? I mean, Judge and Cal, like that's a great point. Right? Great argument there. Cal Raleigh had a historic season, but do you take Judge's leading in every other category but home runs as more valuable? Now, I could argue that Judge was kind of like Ohtani last year, right? Like kind of like an all-star among a top offense. Like we're showing now if you take Judge out, what happens, right? But last year was a little bit different. I agree with you guys. Like Ohtani can't even be in the top two. He can't.
Right.
He can't. It's not that great of a season, which is kind of hard because like it's still a great season, but it's not an Ohtani season. So does he still get praise for that, or does he lose? Does he get dinged points?
Don't
And
you
is
think,
the Ohtani fatigue is real?
don't
It
you
is.
think though that players, and this is not a knock on any of them. Look, Ohtani and Judge are both they're going to be my examples, but they're both generational players. I like both players. Don't you think players like that though, whatever era we're in, whether it's Pujols, Mike Trout, whatever era we're in, some of the voters, and maybe a good number of them, they want to give these awards to the guys that they know are going to be Hall of Fame generational players and to build their resume and say one day down the line, Aaron Judge had 4 MVP awards. Because really, if it's an MVP award, if it's truly a most valuable player award and not the best player in baseball award, Cal Raleigh should have won that award last year. Because if you take Cal Raleigh off the Seattle Mariners, they're nowhere near the postseason without what he did last year.
They
Granted,
look like hell.
Good enough
Right,
this year, yeah.
exactly.
And the Yankees are still a pretty good baseball team. I mean, the Yankees have been without Judge now for how long? And I know they're not playing great, but they're still in the postseason race. They
Since
still
May
got a shot.
31st.
Yeah, so I just think that some of the voters look at it as an opportunity to. They don't have to, but they're like, you know what? One day people are going to look back on this era, and if Aaron Judge only has 2 MVP awards or Ohtani only has 3 MVP awards, it's going to look like we didn't do our job. Like we need to make sure Ohtani retires with 8 MVP awards to really show how great he was during his era. But if you want to give out an extra award that's the best player in baseball award instead of the MVP, then fine, give it to Ohtani. Right? He's probably the best player in baseball because he can pitch, he can hit, he can do both well when he's doing them both. But value-wise, he's not the most valuable player to his team right now. You could probably put even more than PCA and Olsen if you wanted to truly do a most valuable player award. What they mean to their team. I mean, what are the Brewers without Jacob Misiorowski?
Well, they do have an MLB Player of the Year award, don't they?
Like, nobody cares.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Right.
It's
nobody
not
knows,
the MVP.
right?
It's not
We
the
don't
MVP.
have these debates about that award, Like
And the players
it's
don't
weird.
care either because I don't think they get bonuses for
Right.
player of the year, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I just think, listen, the guy's got 4 MVPs. That's pretty good, right?
He's good. He's
right,
good.
right. He is. He's pretty good. I don't think we're gonna have to give him any more just to be like, all right, we gotta give this guy more MVPs. So
Yeah,
4
I agree.
MVPs. That's good.
He's good.
But my argument to that, Chris, is Judge got hosed from the COVID season. He's been injured. He might miss a lot of next year. Judge is not going to have the accumulative stats to get into the Hall of Fame, possibly.
No,
So-
I think he's
Yeah,
gonna
he's
get it.
in.
He'll get it.
He's in.
Yeah.
He's in.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you look at his numbers at the end. Is he going to be short of 500 homers? Probably. He could be.
He's still in.
Yeah.
Only thing Judge needs legacy wise, he's in. He needs a
World
championship.
Series.
He needs a
Yeah,
chance.
he does. He needs a World Series.
And that's more
Definitely.
to be honest, that's more for being a Yankee than
Right.
anything
Yes.
else.
Agreed.
You know, I hate to say it, if he was playing on the Pirates now, putting up these numbers, if he didn't win a championship, nobody would even talk about it.
Right,
But now
because
because he's a Yankee, it's like, oh, he's got to win a World Series.
we had this discussion before. I mean, people don't care that King Griffey Jr. and Ted Williams didn't win championships. Tony Gwynn, those guys didn't win championships. Nobody cares. They're still some of the greatest players of all time. So yeah, being a Yankee brings that burden along with it. But Judge is in. He's in regardless, in my opinion.
I agree. But in 75 years, when our grandkids go to the Hall of Fame and they look at his plaque, they're gonna go, why is Aaron Judge in? Like, his numbers aren't that great. You know what I mean? They're not going to think about all the time he's missed, right? But how did this guy? I'm just saying, like, guys, like, I look back at the 1920s myself, right? Like, I don't know much about that history. I'll be honest, right? Rob can tell us more, but I don't know much about them. Yeah, I don't know much about them.
Kirby Puckett. When you look at Kirby Puckett's numbers, are you like, oh my God, that's a Hall of Famer? No, but his career was cut short. Sandy Koufax.
Right.
He had 5-6 great years. Great years. But are you going to look at his career numbers and go, oh, yeah, that's a Hall of Famer? No. But you
I understand.
You got to
your
read.
point there.
Yeah.
But I will say this: that is kind of the purpose of the Hall of Fame. Like, if you want to know why somebody's in, go to Cooperstown and read the plaque. Like, that will explain, right? I mean, I'm sure the story is told there. So. But I see your point. But 75 years from now, they'll probably be playing all these games on a computer or virtually anyway. But if there is baseball, right? But no, it's a good point, and that's kind of what I was saying. Do the voters, when they vote on these things, is that what they're thinking about? Like, we need to get Ohtani that 7th MVP award, to really bump him up. I think some of them really think that way.
Or to get Barry Bonds off the board is probably more like it. That wouldn't surprise me.
That too.
But
me too. Yeah.
All right. Well, since we were kind of backhandedly talking about the Mariners, they lose 22-0 to the Brewers yesterday. Julio Rodriguez gets a nice casual fly ball, bases loaded, and makes camped underneath it, makes the catch, turns to the crowd, and Larry Walkers it right into the bleachers, and then realizes that there's only 2 outs. This is just a snapshot of their season, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
More or less.
It is. But we've seen players do that. I mean, I'm not going to vilify Julio too much, but 22-0, that's the part that I feel like did the Mariners just lay down, which to their credit, they've come back tonight and they're winning. But that's just it is a microcosm of their whole season. You're right.
Where do the Mariners go from here? They were 1 game away from the World Series last year. They still have an elite pitching staff, I would say, or top of the league. I don't know if it's elite anymore, but it's deep. It's a deep staff, starters to bullpen. They can't hit water if they fell out of a boat. Where do the Mariners go? Do they tear it all down? Do they ship out some of this pitching to get some sticks? How do the Mariners kind of regain some footing here?
I think you said it right there. I think they have to retool this team because what they're doing is not working. I know it worked last year, but that's because Cal Raleigh had this unbelievable season. We know it's not going to happen again, but they have to figure this out, right? They have the pitching, like you said. Right now, they have a deep pitching staff, and they got also the number 1 prospect sitting there in AAA, right, or AA, Cade Anderson, and he's going to be up, whether it's at the end of this year or he'll be starting next season. So you got that extra starter. Like, make a couple of moves here. Yeah, you could trade one of your starters, hopefully get a big bat from somebody, but they got to do something, right? Spend some money. And I know they did. They signed Josh Naylor. Yeah, I mean, that was an okay addition, right? But they needed more than just Josh Naylor because you got Julio, great player, but he's very streaky, right? He always starts off slow, right? And then he picks it up and then he gets into that slump again. So he's a streaky guy. So you need a more consistent guy up there that could kind of carry the team when Julio is slumping or when Cal Raleigh slumps. Because I think Cal Raleigh is going to get better next year. He's just not going to get back to 60 home runs, right? So I just think they gotta their mindset has to change. We have to get to be an offensive team. Like we got the pitching now. Now we need some bats. Not that you're going to sign many guys either, because free agency is going to be weak this offseason with the bats, right? Like Jazz might be the top bat in free agency. So one of the top bats.
Wow. That's bad.
Armin asks who gets fired, Dipoto or Wilson. I think they're both gone. If they miss the playoffs, they're both out. I think. Yeah. I think they're both out.
Yeah.
Cal has less total hits this year than home runs last year.
Yeah.
Ouch. He just needs to shut it down. Something's not right. I think the oblique's still bothering him. I'm with you, Chad. He looks hurt. So I don't know.
And maybe it's also there's a the World Baseball Classic curse too. So
yeah. I mean, that's a good point, Rob, right? Because we had Paul Skeens started, and look at him now, right? Logan Webb started off really rough. He gave up a lot in his first couple outings. Everybody that came back from the Judge is now hurt, right? Cal Raleigh with the oblique, kind of taking them out of their yearly routine and spring training and asking them to go 100% in the beginning to the middle of March. Maybe that does do something to these guys who are Roman Anthony, Bing,
Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah.
Gunnar, yeah.
These guys are so type A personality when it comes to their daily routines and their yearly routines that, like, on Monday at 6:07, my alarm goes off. 6:09, I'm pouring my cereal into the bowl. 6:11, I'm eating my cereal. Like, they're really that regimented in type A that you throw something like the WBC in there, it throws everything off. And yeah, the curse might be a real thing for sure.
Me and Chris talk about this all the time. I mean, you went through the list. These guys, you're right. They have routines and playing hard when they're supposed to be in spring training. That can't help. That can't be good for them. It just can't be good for them.
No.
Or they got to figure out how to, how to handle this, right? How to go from, doing a little bit of spring training and then going into the regular season. I mean, doing a little spring training, going into the WBC, and then going back into the, regular season. Like, who else? Cal Raleigh, we mentioned. Bobby Witt started off really slow. Corbin Carroll.
Ronald Acuna hasn't been, even when he's healthy. When he's healthy, he still hasn't been himself. Yeah.
He's not his usual stuff. Hey, you know what? We just mentioned him a little bit earlier, but Paul Skeens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dead arm for sure. Yeah. The handshake that didn't happen caused the riff in the Mariners clubhouse. And I mean, yeah, the Randy Arozarena and Cal Raleigh thing, I thought it got blown out of proportion a little bit, but still, like, it's just another thing that doesn't necessarily need to happen. Listen, I love the WBC, but if it's going to cost my guys like 2 months and coming out slow, Willie Abreu on the Red Sox, I mean, another guy, yeah, they won the WBC, but he came out kind of slow, and the Red Sox suffered, right? As we all know, the first 3 months I was on here crying every day, and Chris said, "It will be okay, Nick," and was patting my back and patting my head, and I never believed him, and now I do. So props to you, Chris, but
hey, I'm doing that to Rob now. I don't listen. I don't think a miracle is going to happen, but you never know. You never know. Here, look. Let's quickly. I just want to show you this.
McLean also started off a little slow too, Chris.
Yeah,
remember?
Another guy.
Look at these names, and you could kind of connect a lot of guys that started off slow. Not everyone.
Bregman.
Right? Clay Holmes was pretty good until he got hurt.
Bregman hasn't been the same in Chicago.
Yep.
Just recently. I mean, Paul Goldschmidt's 85, so that doesn't really matter.
Right.
Bryce Harper, Miller hasn't missed a beat, but
Griffin Jacks got hurt too later on, right? Didn't he get
Joe? Yeah, Joe Ryan, I think, was on the IL for a little bit. Will Smith's been out. Scooble.
You could see a lot of the veterans, the older guys, handled it better.
Yeah.
Right. Like Schwarber was fine, like you said. Goldschmidt was fine when he first. Bobby Witt started off slow. Whitlock, he's always hurt, so I don't want to lump him into this because he's another guy that gets hurt a lot. But Terang was good actually in the beginning. He's kind of tailing off a little bit now. But Gabe Spear, I don't think wasn't he hurt? No, I know he wasn't that good for the Mariners.
He was
Will
out
Smith
for a
got
little
hurt.
bit too, I think.
Yeah,
Let's
Will
be
Smith.
What do you
got hurt.
guys? What do you guys think it really is? Do you think it's that they start off in spring training, so you're kind of in that not really fired up mode. You're kind of just getting into your groove. Then all of a sudden you got to play like real competition, probably better pitchers in general than you would in spring training for a couple of weeks. Then you got to pull it back down again. Is that what you guys are kind of thinking is the – because I'm wondering, I don't know what the answer is, but, if they schedule that thing to run almost right into the regular season, like have more time before it, then schedule it where it runs almost right to the start of the regular season where they don't have that back and forth. Somebody mentioned doing it at the All-Star break. I think we've talked about that before. I'm not sure how that would work. You might have to shrink it down a little bit.
They'll never do that.
Right now, they can't do that.
I don't know what the answer is, but maybe that's part of it.
It's not only physical, it's mental too.
Yeah.
It's definitely mental. So it's tough, but I think it does have an effect on these guys. Like you said, Jason, they start off regular spring training, then they have to play hard, right? Then it's back to spring training, slowing down a little, and then the regular season starts. It's like up and down, up and down. What am I doing? So breaking their routine.
I wonder if baseball underestimated how seriously these guys are going to take this thing. Like it started off as kind of an exhibition, and then there's a lot of national pride, especially for the Latin American players. We saw that this past time, and they really – I mean, some of them – I think Ronald Acuna was one of them – even said this was more important to him than winning a World Series. So, like – I wonder if they just kind of underestimated how seriously these guys were going to take this thing.
I was just going to say that to Rob's point where it's, it's almost a hangover. The regular season is a hangover, right? These guys are emotionally jacked up, right? When they're playing for your country. You're not playing for your city or your organization. You're playing for everybody in the country. And that means a lot to everybody that steps on the field wearing your country's uniform. Right. And then it's like, okay, like back to the daily grind. Like it's a hangover mentally for sure. It absolutely is. And physically it can't be good to everyone's point, but I think Rob, you hit it right on the head. I think it's kind of a mental thing. Like you get so emotionally jacked up for this tournament and then it's just like, okay, like back at it. Oh, ho-hum, another $26 million this year. Ho-hum.
Now I was playing in the World Basketball Classic. Now I'm playing the Mets.
That's
a big step down for sure.
Jump on the Mets.
Well, hey, look. If this is being serious. If you play for the Miami Marlins and you're in the World Baseball Classic and you're at Marlins Park and there's 40,000 people there, and your opening day has like 8,000 people, that's probably a big letdown. Right? Like,
and you know what? And to be honest, unless they're willing to take games away from the regular season and move it to like April, like Armand said, or maybe during the All-Star break or something like maybe during the middle of the season. They'll never do it at the end, but I don't think there's any other best time to do it. But before the season starts, I mean, they're not gonna take away games, right? Because that's money coming out of the owners' pockets. So that's never going to happen. So I think this is the best time to do it. And unfortunately, it is what it is, and these guys got to figure it out. The players got to figure it out.
Chad says get it into the new CBA. Now, that's the interesting part of this whole thing because the WBC is not an MLB-sponsored event, to your point earlier. So, like, I don't know how much control. Yes, they would have control possibly over the players, but I don't know what that would even begin to look like, to be honest. So I don't even know what you would try to ask for. But to Chris's point, March is the only time you can do it. Like, it's the only time that these guys are up off their couch and actually, like, somewhat doing baseball activities.
Right.
And to get the most participation you can out of it. Now, what I do see happening is the insurance for these guys getting jacked up through the roof, so everybody starts opting out, like we saw in 2023, right? Lindor couldn't go, a whole bunch of other guys got pulled off. I do see that happening. The insurance goes up, team's not going to pay it, and they're not going to be able to go. I do see that happening before anything else. And then it might just phase out.
WBC presented by Lloyd's of London. That's going to be the future.
I wonder if teams are going to start when they sign a player. I wonder if that might be one of the things they're going to throw in the contract. Like, we don't want you participating in the WBC, right? Because we've seen guys just completely collapse after playing in the WBC. So I wonder if they're going to put those. I don't. That really doesn't have anything to do with the CBA because that's a contract. They could put that in anybody's contract. Right. But I wonder if that's something that they're going to start to push on. The superstars I'm talking about. If you're going to sign, Aaron Judge at 29, 30 years old, do you want him playing in the WBC? Probably not. So you might say, listen, we'll give you this money, but we don't want you doing anything but Yankee stuff.
Yeah. Good point.
So.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I had on my checklist. Do you fellas have anything else you want to bring up for this week?
You know what? I had one question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
All right. No, this is one is harder than the other, but we see the wild card races, right? And I think the top two in each one is pretty much locked in, right? American League, Yankees, Red Sox, National League, it looks like the Phillies and the Cubs. But on both leagues, that number 3 one looks like it's still up for grabs. So I'm going to ask you guys right now, gun to your head, or you got one more chip in your hand and you got to bet, who do you guys see as the third wild card in the American League and the third wild card in the National League?
Great question.
All right, I'll go because I did this on Sunday. My prediction before the year was 4 AL East teams are going to make the playoffs. So I went Orioles Sunday, so I'll predict the Blue Jays on this show, so I'll get one of them right. So Blue Jays in the AL, 4 teams from the AL East make the playoffs, which was my prediction at the beginning. And in the NL, I really hate it, but it's the Padres. And that makes me vomit in my mouth.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Nick took both my picks. I think the Blue Jays, and I definitely think the Padres. Even though I don't know. I think the Mets won the series against the Padres, right? So if they're losing a series to the Mets, what's going on with the Padres?
I mean, so I'll go against the grain a little bit, I'll throw in. And this is not just me being pissed off Braves fan. Guys, don't be shocked if the Phillies win the NL East. It's a 4.5 game lead now, and the Braves are in trouble. I'm just telling you, the Braves are in trouble. There are a lot of holes in that team that were not addressed, and I've been through that. We won't go on that tangent. But the Phillies may end up as the division champ, and the Braves may be the second wild card. But I'm going to go off the board, and I probably would have said the Diamondbacks before the Ketel Marte stuff. I'm going to go Cardinals. I think something about that Cardinals team all year. They're 3 games out right now. I would watch for the Cardinals. And I agree with Nick on the AL East, except I think it's going to be the Orioles. Call me crazy, and most people do. I like the Orioles going to come back and grab that last spot.
Love it. Yeah, Twins have the third one tonight. It's crazy the Twins are in the playoff discussion after they didn't even have an MLB. Yeah, they didn't even have an MLB. They didn't even have a major league team after the deadline last year. Think about that.
Really, it
was insane, man.
It's
Nick, going back to the earlier question about the Mariners, right? We sit here and this is what I love about baseball. We've said for years, like the Pirates are similar, right? We said a couple of years ago, if the Pirates just had some offense, man, if they'd be unstoppable. Well, they had some offense this year, and now the pitching
schemes.
Yeah, same thing with the Mariners. Like we've said for years, if the Mariners and they did improve offensively like last year, and they still didn't get it done. So baseball is such a crazy sport. We can sit here and say, well, if they did this and they did that, and still you have a team like the 2023 Diamondbacks who come out of nowhere, get to the World Series. It's just who knows? Who knows, right? And that's why we love it. But I will say, and I asked you guys this the other night, is it good for baseball to have a team that's under 500 win a wild card? I know it's fun to watch these races, but I don't see it. What if that team actually goes on a run and gets to the World Series? What if the team under 500 gets a wild card and goes on a heater and gets to the World Series, God forbid, wins the thing? What does that do for? Is that good for baseball? Like, will that bring?
I can see it
fans
happening
in?
in the American League because the American League is just so bad. I can't see it in the National League. One of those top
No.
teams are going to get there.
Yeah,
You know, I
Yeah.
don't want to keep saying the Dodgers, but if the
It's
Dodgers don't, then it's going to be the Brewers, right? Or
Right.
now, to your point, Jason, why you worried? I'm sure you know this. The Braves and the Phillies play 7 more times, so I think those 7 games are going to determine who wins the division, right? If the Phillies take 6 out of 7, right? So
I've got 3 of the smartest baseball. Okay, Rob's here. I got 2 of the smartest baseball people that I know on this. Listen. This is your matchup, right? If you had Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, and Jesus Luzardo, and your other choice was Chris Sale, Martin Perez, and Tyler Mahle, or Bryce Elder, who the hell are you picking? Who are you picking?
Oh, hey, the Phillies also signed Nestor Cortez today, by
That's
the
right.
way.
oh
So,
boy, Nasty Nestor
there
is
you
back
go.
into
Nasty
That's right.
Nestor.
Major
It's
league
all over the
contract.
grind, buddy.
All right.
Look out.
We
But to
got
answer your
Carlos
question,
Santana loose the other day. I mean,
Yeah, I
Oh,
think I would
yikes.
go with the Phillies.
yeah, you think? Yeah.
to answer your question real quick, though, if an under 500 team wins the World Series, baseball's going to be like, yep, expansion. Let's expand the playoffs. It's going to be
Oh.
bad for baseball. That's exactly what's going to happen.
The
'Cause see,
NCAA tournament. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Oh,
going to
look,
expand
see, there's-
anyway.
there's
But-
parity in baseball. Look, there's so much parity in
Yeah.
baseball. Look.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'll
I just
throw in
have-
one more team in the American League. I'll say
Okay.
maybe the Rangers, just because they have a lot of veterans on that team, and I think they can make a run, especially in the West. The West isn't that good either. So,
DeGrom
maybe
and
them,
Evaldi
but-
are both out.
oh right, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, maybe not. So
Take that
I'll
away.
go with Toronto also, just because they were just there last year, so they know how to do this, right?
Right.
Baltimore is still a young team. They're still trying to figure themselves out. I mean, we can't forget about Cleveland. They got really good pitching as well. The Tigers, you know, I don't know. It's such a mess. Like all those teams, the Twins, they're all lumped in together. That's why I was like thinking about it today. I'm like, who could make it? Who's going to be that third wild card? I just
By
The
the
Blue
way,
Jays-
real quick, is there a weirder stat right now in baseball than Vlad Guerrero Jr. hasn't hit a home run at Rogers Center in a calendar year?
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
It's crazy.
I was just going to say the Blue Jays need to make a trip to the Dominican Republic and find Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah.
nowhere to be found, man. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
there you go.
this is not him.
That
I don't mind
stat
it.
is
I don't
wild.
mind it at all.
Yeah, right.
I'm not
That
complaining.
stat's wild.
Can you imagine Aaron Judge going a calendar year without hitting a home run at Yankee Stadium? Like,
No.
No, I think it's
Yeah,
impossible for him.
there'd be people jumping off bridges in New York.
The stadium would just collapse.
And listen, guys, I have one last thing to say. What I am missing in memory, I make up in popularity. So
Yes, let's go.
No doubt.
We're
No doubt about
we're gonna end on that one. That's probably the line of the night. But anyways, incredible as always, fellas. I look forward to Wednesday nights. This is absolutely incredible. So if you don't already, make sure you follow Jason on Bullpen Sessions, 9521 Braves podcast, Rob and Chris on NYMLB Talk. You can follow me on Rounding Third Baseball. And then obviously sometime when we're all together, Wednesdays, 9 p.m., something like that. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, we're all here Wednesday nights. We're missing Lorenzo tonight, but hopefully he'll be back next week. He's on Big League Takes on X. So check us all out, follow, like. And until then, enjoy your week of baseball. Hope all your teams do well except for the Dodgers and Yankees. And we will see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
good night.